Isaac here with the Moving to Idaho channel, and welcome to Nampa, Idaho.
From the huge Lake Lowell to the Ford Idaho Center, there is something for everyone. Check out the world-renowned farmers market. We'll explore the schools, the greenbelt, and the vibrant downtown, all to show you my home, Nampa, Idaho. If you're going to be living in Nampa, one of the biggest misconceptions that I've seen people have is that they think if they live in Nampa, they're going to have to travel outside of Nampa to do their shopping, and it couldn't be further from the truth. Nampa has all of what I like to call the shopping necessities that you need from grocery stores like Walmart, Winco, Albertsons, Costco, Grocery Outlet, and lots more, in addition to tons of supply stores like Lowe's, Home Depot, Grover's, and the list goes on. Now, in terms of clothing, you may find yourself traveling to some of the more expensive retail areas if you're looking for some fancy stuff like Louis Vuitton or Gucci or some other designer clothes. Personally, I get the majority of my clothes from Costco, but if I need a good set of jeans, then I'll go to like D&B Supply or Boot Barn. But the key takeaway from this is that my whole life that I've lived here in Nampa, Idaho, never once have I needed to go outside of Nampa to do any shopping. And if you're concerned about dining choices in Nampa, it steps back up to the plate again. With a bunch of restaurants to choose from like Texas Roadhouse, Outback Steakhouse, Cracker Barrel, Applebee's, along with all of the fast food chains like Sonic, McDonald's, Jack in the Box, and Chick-fil-A. Texas Roadhouse is my favorite, but they can be dangerous with those rolls. I mean, 1 minute they're taking your order, and then before you know it, I've eaten 4 or 5 baskets of rolls before I even get my meal. We also have a host of small eateries in downtown Nampa, but I'm going to cover that later on in the video. Unfortunately, we don't have any Raising Cane's or anything like that in Nampa, Idaho, or in the Boise area in general, but Nampa is getting its very first In-N-Out burger, which is the second one in the entire state of Idaho. And judging by how well the grand opening went for the first one in Meridian, I think the one in Nampa is going to be a hit as well. When it comes to outdoor spaces, Nampa really doesn't let you down, with a whopping 27 parks throughout the town of all different kinds. One of my favorite parks in Nampa is the Lakeview Park, which is a huge park right in the center of Nampa with tons of open green space and huge old growth trees that provide shade and a mature atmosphere. There are all sorts of events that go on in the park every single year, from car shows to art festivals, and if we are lucky enough to get some snow in the winter, then the kids definitely utilize the park for sledding and making snowman. And this is probably the most popular spot for people around the area to go and feed the ducks and geese. In addition to that, the city just reopened a BMX track at that park as well, so if you got a kid who likes that, they can spend a ton of time there. One of the newest parks in Nampa is the Ora Brandt Park. The park has a huge playground with swings, climbing areas, and slides. The park also has a free splash pad for kids to cool off during the summer months. In addition to the playground and the splash pad, they also have a rose garden, restrooms, green space, a soccer field, walking paths, and a 9-hole disc golf course, including a pavilion that you can rent. But the city isn't even close to done with the park. Once they finish it, it'll have 6 pickleball courts, a baseball field, even more parking, public restrooms, an expansion on the walking trail, and plus there are plans for an outdoor amphitheater along with a public swimming pool. One thing that Nampa started doing recently at one of their newest parks is super cool, and that's free movies in the park. They call it Silver Screen on the Green. The city puts up an inflatable movie screen, and families from all around Nampa can come relax in the grass and watch movies. It has been held at various different places throughout Nampa since 2014, and it has become quite a bit of a tradition. The park that it is held at is in West Nampa on Midway Road and Smith Avenue. Currently, the park offers 4 baseball fields, 6 pickleball courts, soccer fields, futsal courts, basketball courts, outdoor fitness gym, a large picnic center, half-mile fitness trail, green space, and restrooms. Kids can enjoy the large playground that has swings, slides, climbers, and spinners. Nampa also has its very own greenbelt that stretches for 13 miles throughout the southern part of Nampa, and once it is finished, it will come all the way to downtown Nampa. When I was growing up in South Nampa, this was definitely a huge part of the recreation. I mean, we would take our scooters or our bicycles and spend tons of hours there, especially during the summer and summer break, burned out all of our energy. We would take our dogs walking on there. The largest part of the greenbelt runs alongside of the Wilson Creek, which is going to bring us to the next topic, and that is Wilson's Ponds. If you're just getting into fishing or maybe want to get into fishing, this is definitely a place I would recommend you check out. It is a big nature preserve complex with several ponds and creeks with paved pathways cutting throughout the whole area that the Department of Fish and Game stocks every single week with rainbow trout throughout the summer. The schedule for stocking this year is about 400 fish every single week. Growing up, my brother and I used to ride our bicycles along the greenbelt to go to Wilson's Ponds during the summer every single week, and we caught way more than our fair share of fish in there. A lot of people like to utilize this area as well just to go and check out the abundant birds that migrate to the ponds throughout the year, or even get in some exercise. If you're keen on getting out and doing a round of golf, then you're definitely going to love Nampa, because we have got 5 golf courses here to choose from with different types of scenery, but I think most would agree that the Red Hawk Golf Course, which is an 18-hole championship facility with the view of Lake Lowell and the Owyhee Mountains to the west, will take the cake on that. And if 5 golf courses isn't enough, there are 24 more golf courses within 20 miles of Nampa. Nampa is home to Lake Lowell, which is a near 9,000-acre lake that provides tons of different activities to Nampa residents. Most of the people love to get out in the water and go boating, whether it's water skiing or wakeboarding or tubing behind boats. This was probably our favorite activity growing up, getting pulled behind my grandpa's boat on the lake as he would try and launch us off waves and all that kind of stuff. I don't know how we survived, but somehow we did, and a lot of people love to do that. In more recent years, as paddleboards have become increasingly popular, I've noticed more and more people going out and using the lake for that as well. Swimming is also very popular at the lake in the summer, with people trying to escape the heat. And before someone says it, because it never fails, anytime I mention Lake Lowell, somebody has to chime in and says, the water is toxic, there's deadly algae. Well, guess what? Any water has algae in it, and if it's so deadly, then how come I've never heard of a single person getting sick from it? I would be willing to bet money that I've drank the water out of there on accident, and I grew up totally fine, still here, kind of. Fishing is definitely a popular activity at the lake, with most people going after largemouth bass out there, but there are a variety of fish in there. Growing up, we used to target channel catfish, bass, both large and smallmouth, along with bluegill. There are crappie and perch in there as well, but their population really isn't as high as it used to be. One thing that is pretty neat about the lake is that you can actually hunt out at the lake in certain parts of the lake. It's open for people to go duck hunting out there, but if you're lucky enough to draw a tag for the deer hunt out there, then you can actually hunt deer. And crazy enough, I just found out yesterday that I drew that tag, so maybe you'll catch me out there shooting a deer. If you would like to go out and get some exercise, there are miles of hiking trails at the lake that you can utilize and get some great scenery in while checking out the wildlife, from the birds of prey that nest in the lake to the millions of geese that call the lake home during the winter. The biggest attraction for Nampa has definitely got to be the Ford Idaho Center. It is a huge indoor event center that is actually the biggest in the entire Boise area, if not the whole state. They host all sorts of events there, from high school graduations to state championships to the Monster Jam with all the monster trucks, and even lectures like Jordan Peterson last year. My favorite event that goes on there is definitely the Snake River Stampede, which is the biggest rodeo in the entire state. So if you've never experienced a large-scale rodeo, this is absolutely one that you have to check out. But they also have an outdoor amphitheater that has all sorts of huge concerts from all the big artists like George Strait, Zach Bryan, Whiskey Myers, and even Chris Stapleton. One of the most unique events that happens at the Idaho Center, in my opinion, is a huge gun show. It happens every single month, and it just shows Idaho's general atmosphere around the Second Amendment. I mean, I go into that gun show, and if I can walk in there with a gun over my shoulder into the biggest event center in the entire state, how do you think the atmosphere is around here? Another one of the really neat things about Nampa is that it has a lot to offer for each different lifestyle. Nampa can be divided into a few different areas. North Nampa, South Nampa, and West Nampa are going to be the largest parts of the town, but downtown Nampa and the north end of Nampa also have their own appeals. North Nampa is probably going to be the newest part of the Nampa, and it really is seeing the most growth. Just like the rest of the Boise area, we are seeing fields turn to subdivisions, with many of the large local builders in the area like CBH Homes and Hubble Homes, along with some national builders like Lennar Homes, Richmond American Homes, as well as Toll Brothers. One of the huge pros for North Nampa is that it has phenomenal access no matter where you're going. It butts up to all 4 of the interchanges on Interstate 84, as well as being bordered by Highway 2026 to the north. One of the biggest construction projects in the entire area is happening on the eastern side of North Nampa, and it will bring Highway 16 down and connect it to Interstate 84, creating a brand new interchange. This will definitely have a large effect on the traffic, and hopefully for the better, taking folks off of the smaller roads and onto the new highway. I personally live in North Nampa right now, and one of the nice things that I like about it is it's really close to the 10-mile interchange area, where we are seeing a ton of shopping and businesses pop up, and there will be a huge outdoor area there, over 200 acres, that's going to have shopping, dining, entertainment. But the newest thing over there is the Shill store that just opened up this year. I am definitely a frequent flyer of that store now and have spent way too much money in there already. In fact, they are working on my compound boat at the time I'm making this video. But when it comes to shopping, North Nampa literally has everything that you need. There's a Walmart, Costco, Target, visit several clothing stores like Kohl's and a variety of dining choices too. There are a couple big cons to living in North Nampa. However, one is a con that really bugs me, but the other actually doesn't bother me at all, but some people seem to have issues with it. North Nampa is home to the Idaho Center, which is awesome. It's actually a short distance from my house. In fact, I could walk from my house to the Idaho Center. I get to listen to all the concerts for free from my backyard, but just like anywhere else in the world, if you have a large event center, when there are events, there is a ton of traffic around it, and it feels to me like it gets gridlocked. Franklin Road and Idaho Center Boulevard become stop and go, which can get pretty frustrating. The second con that many people don't like about North Nampa is the prevalence of industrial buildings, and I can understand that they're a bit of an eyesore, but there are several things to take into account with this. These industrial buildings are only within the first block of Interstate 84, so if you're driving on the interstate and look out, it gives the appearance that may not be visually appealing, but because of their location, it keeps all of the truck traffic consolidated right around the interstate, and they work as great noise blocks so you don't hear the interstate at all. Another thing about North Nampa is that as the area has grown, it's pretty much butting up against Meridian, and it's almost hard to tell where one town stops and the other starts. But because of this, I find myself utilizing Meridian stores and eateries quite frequently because it's just so close. When it comes to South Nampa, this is probably going to be my favorite part of Nampa, but I'm going to be a bit biased because this is where I grew up. If I had to sum it up in a couple words, I would have to go with picturesque developed suburbs. And what I mean by this is that South Nampa is pretty quiet. It has a bunch of spread out neighborhoods to fit all styles of living, set back away from all the hustle of the interstate and businesses, with many of the neighborhoods being at least 10 years old, so you have a very mature landscape look with lots of old trees and great scenery. In my opinion, it's the perfect place to raise a family. The majority of the traffic in South Nampa is simply going to be people leaving to take their kids to school, or buses in the morning, or others commuting to one of the bigger towns for work. Just like in North Nampa, there are a lot of housing options to choose from with the new home builders, but South Nampa starts to shine through when it comes to custom homes and homes with larger lots like an acre to a half acre. As of right now, to get into the market for a home on at least a half an acre, you're looking around the 500 mark and up, depending on the size of the home and property size. Custom home builders are really liking South Nampa at the moment because of the ambiance of the area. If you're wanting a new home on about a half acre, you're looking around the $850,000 area and up. One of my favorite things about South Nampa is definitely the greenbelt. Surrounded by neighborhoods, it makes it extremely accessible for folks to utilize, and above all, it's safe. I couldn't even begin to count all the miles that I put on bicycles and scooters and rollerblades on that greenbelt growing up, and oftentimes we'd even do it without a parent just because it was so safe. Another attraction in South Nampa that is actually really new and really cool for families is Shindig Farms. It isn't actually a farm, but they have events that go on for every single season throughout the year. Corn maze and pumpkin patch during the fall and Halloween stuff, along with winter wonderlands during the winter, makes for year-round activity. South Nampa also has a huge rec center with pools, basketball courts, rock climbing, and all sorts of stuff, including classes throughout the year, which a lot of people in South Nampa like to utilize. And since this video is going to come out shortly after the 4th of July, I'm just going to throw this in there. In Idaho, we really like to celebrate the 4th of July. I mean, a lot. It's probably our favorite holiday, and it's like a war zone with the fireworks. And the fireworks stand that I always like to go to is this one south on 12th Avenue, because that's where you can get the really good fireworks at. However, you do need a permit to light these off. When it comes to shopping in South Nampa, you really only have the essential grocery stores like Albertsons and Walmart, along with a grocery outlet, but other than that, it's pretty much going to be it, aside from maybe a Walgreens. So if you have to do larger shopping or go to a hardware store, you're going to have to travel to the Karcher area. But if you're only doing that once a week or once every other week, it really isn't that bad. One of the biggest pain points about South Nampa, and I can tell you because I lived there for 18 years, is South Nampa is not known for its restaurants or eateries. You've got your main fast food joints like Sonic, McDonald's, and Papa Murphy's, but if you actually want to go in and sit down to eat like Texas Roadhouse or Applebee's or Cracker Barrel, you're going to have to drive to at least downtown Nampa to get that. But don't worry about healthcare because South Nampa has St. Al's along with primary health if you got some rambunctious kids. I know I had several x-rays and stitches done there. Some of the main roads for South Nampa are going to be 12th Avenue. It runs all the way from the south end of town up into the downtown area. Amity Road along with Greenhurst Road were also ones that we used quite often. The nice thing about South Nampa is that its roads are laid in perfect grids running north and south along with east and west, having main roads every 1 mile, so it's almost impossible to get lost. West Nampa is going to be very similar to South Nampa in the type of lifestyle it can offer and the type of housing available, except for one big thing, and that's going to be the lake. You're going to find a lot of custom home builders have really taken to properties around the lake and building around several golf courses over there as well. The main production builder that you're going to see in West Nampa is going to be Toll Brothers, but Hubble Homes and CBH, along with Lennar Homes, do have some smaller communities over there as well. One of the biggest benefits of living in West Nampa is that you're actually super close to literally all of the shopping you could possibly need. Costco, Winco, and all the hardware stores like Lowe's and Home Depot and Harbor Freight, and all the dining options for Nampa. Even the movie theater is over here. Major roads for West Nampa are going to be Karcher Road on the north side and Middleton Road running north and south, along with Greenhurst Road on the south side of town. The biggest con that I've come across for West Nampa is definitely going to be in regards to commute times. Karcher Road will get totally bombarded with cars in the morning commute and the evening commute because of a lack of interstate access in the town to the north, which is Caldwell. Because of that, a lot of the residents of Caldwell utilize the Karcher interchange as well, creating a lot of congestion, not to mention that this is the largest shopping area west of Meridian. My clients that have found that West Nampa works best for them are those who don't have to commute to work, whether they are working from home or retired. One thing that my clients love about West Nampa is the huge Midway Park. It isn't fully completed yet, but once it's done, it'll be a whole 52 acres. This is currently where they hold the silver screen on the green that I mentioned earlier, but the park has 4 baseball fields, 6 pickleball courts, soccer fields, and a bunch more. And once the park is completed, it will have a small amphitheater and a splash pad. Another really neat thing about West Nampa is that it butts up right against the Sunny Slope area. In my opinion, it's one of the most breathtaking places near Boise, with the orchards and the vineyards on the banks of the Snake River, looking out towards the Owyhee Mountains. Many of the larger wineries host events during the nice weather with live music, food, great views, and of course wine. If you want to explore Idaho's wine scene, there is a wine trail showcasing 20 different vineyards with more to come, I'm sure. One of my favorite diners to eat at is the Orchard House, located right in the middle of it all. You have to try their pies. And since we're talking about the Sunny Slope area, if you hike to the top of Lizard Butte, you can catch the best sunsets in the entire West Coast. Downtown Nampa has had a bit of a reputation for not having a reputation. Not a lot went on there, and it was a big gripe for many people. Growing up, you would never hear anyone say, "Oh, I'm going to go to downtown Nampa for food or entertainment," or anything along those lines, aside from a couple old dive bars. But the town really has been working towards making a name for itself and trying to create a destination where people can come, hang out, eat, and have fun. There's a variety of locally owned businesses in downtown, like the Flying M Coffee Shop, Rolling H Cycles, Holy Cow for some burgers, Messenger Pizza for their signature giant pizzas, Mesa Tacos for their spin on authentic Mexican food, and a few newer adult beverage venues like Swirl Wine Shop or the 112. I don't drink, but the newest place I discovered there is called the Six Stag, which is a really neat cocktail bar underneath the old buildings with a very unique atmosphere. In addition to businesses in downtown Nampa, there are several events that are held there throughout the year. The Nampa Farmers Market is held downtown Nampa every single Saturday from April through November since 1989. It has grown from just 3 vendors to now over 240, offering a large variety of produce, foods, crafts, plants, and flowers from local vendors. It's nationally ranked as one of the best farmers markets in the country. Last fall, the Nampa Farmers Market was voted by the Farmers Market Coalition as the best farmers market in Idaho, the best farmers market in the Pacific region, and the 11th best in the nation. They also have a special Christmas market held during the annual Christmas tree lighting event, which is being held just around the corner at the Nampa Train Depot. One thing that was brand new for Nampa this year was the first annual Beer Fest, which was a huge hit. There were tons of vendors that showed up along with food trucks and live music. I'm sure it'll definitely be a recurring event with how much of a hit it was, but probably my favorite event for downtown Nampa happens every single month on the 3rd Thursday of the month, and that's exactly the name of the event, 3rd Thursday. There's always a host of vendors that show up and engage with the community, live music always, as well as classic car shows at almost every single month. There's always people that show up for that 3rd Thursday from the whole community. I mean, the police department's there just to interact with the community, and people love dancing to the live music, and it's just a great atmosphere. In the aspect of homes or housing in downtown Nampa, there is a bit to choose from. However, since it's the original Nampa area, the vast majority of the houses are going to be built in the mid to early 1900s. Because of the age, many of them are going to need quite a bit of TLC. When it comes to schooling in Nampa, you're going to have a few options based on where you live. Nampa is in between 2 different school districts, Nampa School District, which makes up the majority of Nampa, and Valley View School District. Valley View School District is going to encompass the north part of Nampa above Interstate 84, and for the most part, the school is going to be Ridgeview High School, which is the newest school in Nampa. There is a very small portion of West Nampa that would be zoned for Valley View High School. The Nampa School District, on the other hand, makes up the largest portion of the area with 3 total high schools to choose from: Nampa High School, Columbia High School, and Skyview High School. I personally went through the Nampa School District and graduated from Columbia High School, and these 3 schools in the Nampa School District do something really neat for the community. For instance, Columbia High School is known for their agriculture and FFA program. I went through the agriculture and I was a part of FFA at Columbia. Skyview is known for their construction program. They have a good construction program over there. And then Nampa High has their own automotive program. Now, none of these schools have all 3 of those. Each of them has their own thing. So if a kid goes to, say, Nampa High but wants to do a construction program at Skyview, the 3 schools really do cooperate and they provide busing. So a kid could be going to Nampa High School and they can still take a construction class at Skyview, or they could take an agricultural class at Columbia, and vice versa. If there's a kid at Columbia that wants to take the construction class or the mechanics class or automotive class, they can bus back and forth, which is really neat to see. There are a few charter schools in Nampa to choose from, like Nampa Christian, Idaho Arts Charter, as well as New Horizons, which is a bilingual school, so students are taught in both English and Spanish. And my younger brother actually went to that school. There are some big changes that are coming to the Nampa School District starting in the fall of 2024. The biggest one that has had a lot of people riled up is going to be switching to a 4-day school week from a 5-day school week. This has been quite a talking point in the community, and I can see both sides of it. Some people are super pro 4-day school week, and then others are not so much. You know, it's something to take into account. You're probably going to have to find an extra day of childcare if you're working 5 days a week. You might not have somebody like the school to take care of your kid on the Fridays, which I'm guessing is the day that they're going to have off, so you have a 3-day school weekend. Other people really like it because this isn't the first school district in the area that has implemented this policy. There's several other school districts. Diesel. There are several other school districts in the area that have done this as well. And, you know, some people like it because they can spend an extra day with their kids if you have that ability. I know that if I only had a 4-day school week going through high school, I would have gone fishing and hunting and doing so much other stuff, probably getting into some trouble too. Now, if you're a young adult or have some older kids who are going to be going after higher education, Nampa has Northwest Nazarene University, which, just as the name implies, is a Christian-based university that is strongly centered around faith. It has a 90-acre campus right in the center of the city with a student body of around 10,000 people from almost 30 different countries around the world. The College of Idaho is also here in Nampa as well, which is a very popular choice for a whole bunch of different life choices, from adult education to workforce development to career and technical programs, and even dual credit programs, which are really neat. The dual credit program, or concurrent credit program as it's called, that CWI offers to high schoolers is a really neat thing. So what happens is the College of Western Idaho, CWI, has certain classes in high schools that students are already going to be taking that would qualify for their credits. So what they can do, like when I was in high school, there were several classes that I was already going through, like AP kind of classes. It's kind of an in-between an AP class, you know, but the College of Western Idaho has deemed that it meets their requirements. So if your students are going through high school and they want to get that concurrent credit, as long as they do that class and complete it, they can get the college credits as CWI. I know some kids who took a whole bunch of different concurrent credit classes in high school, and by the time they graduated high school, they almost had an associate's degree. CWI has a large expansion that they have started this year, which I'm really excited to see come to fruition, and it will have 3 main features: health and sciences, horticulture, and agriculture, as well as a student learning hub. I'm going to read from their website just to give you the skinny on their whole project. Health and Sciences, providing the Western Treasure Valley with accessible opportunities for education, leading to an in-demand career and promising future. The Health and Sciences building will include consolidation of the college's growing health and science programs, state-of-the-art facilities for health and science students to learn and collaborate with each other, enhancement of the student experience as a key component of a future quad, a growing campus for growing minds. The college's future horticulture and agriculture science building will include modern facilities supporting horticulture and agricultural science programs, 2 academic buildings, 2 greenhouses, a barn and a working farm, experimental labs, flex classrooms, and a student group and common areas. Close proximity to the agricultural communities to support collaboration and community events. The future Student Learning Hub will support opportunity for community and student engagement in a central location, and it'll become home to several resources supporting the overall learning experience and student success, and enhance the student experience as a key component of a future quad. When it comes to employment in Nampa, Idaho, the most recent stats that I could find had the Nampa School District as the largest employer for the area, followed by St. Alphonsus, which is a large hospital in the area, and then Plexus, which is in the manufacturing. However, that was dated at 2020, and there's been a lot of big businesses that have moved into the area since then. I mean, that's during the whole COVID timeframe. We saw a lot of changes here. One of the biggest businesses that came in here was the Amazon facility. It was the first distribution facility in the entire state of Idaho, and there are a lot of people that are employed there. I don't know the stats, the numbers on it, but judging by the amount of cars that are there, it definitely supersedes these other stats. When it comes to major roads in Nampa, it can be a little confusing at first, but once you get the gist of things, it's almost impossible to get lost. The most prominent roads in Nampa are going to be Interstate 84, which runs through the middle of Nampa, 12th Avenue, which turns into Highway 45 heading south, Karcher Road, which turns into Highway 55 heading west. If you're driving to California, this is the road that you're going to use. Garrity Road has a handful of different names depending on where you are. If you're south of Interstate 84, it's Garrity. If you're north of the interstate for the first mile, it's Idaho Center Boulevard, which then turns into Can-Ada Road heading north. And last but not least is the Caldwell Boulevard, which connects downtown Nampa all the way to downtown Caldwell. The nice thing about Interstate 84 cutting through Nampa is that it gives really good access with 4 interchanges. The furthest west interchange is that Karcher Road interchange, where you find the vast majority of your shopping and dining. Costco, Target, Chick-fil-A, Texas Roadhouse, Winco, Sportsman's Warehouse, all that stuff is over there along with the movie theater. Working our way east is the north side interchange, but everybody around here knows it as the Sugar Beet Factory exit. North side is definitely your quickest shot at getting into south and downtown Nampa from the interstate. Franklin Road interchange heading east will also take you into downtown Nampa, as well as give you really good access into the North Nampa area. And the final interchange is the Garrity interchange, but everybody calls it the Idaho interchange because the Idaho Center is right here. This is the second busiest interchange for Nampa, as you've got a ton of resources over here, from shopping to fast food to hospitals, along with the Idaho Center Auto Mall, which is a bunch of different car dealerships lined out along the road. So if you're shopping for a new vehicle, this is definitely a place where you'll find yourself. But the main thing for that area is going to be the Idaho Center. And something brand new to throw in is that we're getting a brand new interchange that should be opening within the next year or two. It's east of Garrity and will connect Interstate 84 all the way north up to Highway 16, which should seriously improve the flow of traffic to the north side of the valley. As for hospitals in Nampa, you really are set with several different large hospitals like St. Luke's and St. Al's, which have several different locations in Nampa, along with a bunch of different urgent care centers like Primary Health. So Nampa may or may not work out for you. Some people love it, some people hate it. If you like this video, check out this one right here. Until next time, I'm Isaac Trace with Top Idaho Real Estate, your 3rd generation Idaho Realtor.